Lieutenant Kevin Markham's fingers danced across the control panel as warning lights flashed red throughout the cockpit. His Earth Federation scout ship shuddered violently, spiraling toward an uncharted planet marked dangerous on every star chart. "Come on, hold together," he muttered, fighting the controls. The ship's systems screamed warnings about critical failures, engine overload, and imminent hull breach. Through the viewport, he caught glimpses of a strange world below, phosphorescent forests stretching across the surface like bioluminescent veins. According to his mission briefing, this planet was to be avoided at all costs. The file indicated toxic atmosphere during certain periods and warned specifically about the native species mating season, when the entire planetary ecosystem became extraordinarily hostile to outsiders. Kevin managed to send a distress signal before electromagnetic interference cut his communications. The scout ship plummeted through layers of atmosphere, the hull glowing from friction. His last conscious thought before impact was of the mission file's final warning about making contact during mating season. The crash came with a deafening roar. Metal twisted and screamed as the ship carved a burning path through the alien forest. Kevin blacked out momentarily, then woke to find himself miraculously alive, but trapped in a rapidly deteriorating vessel. Toxic gas was seeping through hull breaches. Fighting disorientation, he grabbed his emergency kit and made for the airlock. The moment he stepped outside, his respirator felt strangely unnecessary. Instead of suffocating from toxic air, Kevin felt an inexplicable energy coursing through his body, a sensation both alarming and oddly euphoric. Before he could process this development, warriors emerged from the glowing forest. Their armor appeared organic, bioluminescent patterns pulsing across its surface. Weapons that seemed to harness pure energy pointed at him from all directions. Then she appeared. Princess Alana stood taller than her guards, her pearl-tinted skin adorned with intricate glowing patterns that shifted with her movements. Dark hair with blue undertones framed a face that was both alien and breathtaking. Her violet eyes fixed on Kevin with an intensity that made him forget to breathe. "He survives our atmosphere," she stated, her voice carrying authority that silenced the restless warriors. During this most sacred time, the guards tensed, their weapons humming with increased energy. One stepped forward, speaking in their melodic language before switching to heavily accented standard. "He must be studied, perhaps dissected. No outsider should breathe during the joining time." Alana circled Kevin, her graceful movements reminding him of a predator assessing prey. Yet something in her gaze suggested fascination rather than hostility. "I sense something unusual," she said finally. "A resonance I've never encountered." The guards began to close in, their intentions clear. Kevin prepared to fight, though he knew resistance was futile. "Stop," Alana commanded. Her eyes narrowed as she made her decision. "I claim him as mine by the ancient right of possession." The warriors froze, clearly shocked by her declaration. Even Kevin, despite his limited understanding, grasped the significance of her words. "Princess, you cannot," the lead guard protested. "The council will never approve." "The council does not rule me in matters of claiming," Alana replied sharply. "He lives, he breathes our air, and I sense the compatibility markers. By our laws, I have a right." Kevin found himself escorted to a massive crystalline structure that seemed to grow organically from the forest floor. The royal palace pulsed with life, its walls and floors responding to inhabitants with subtle luminescence. His assigned quarters were unlike anything on Earth. Every surface emanated a soft glow that matched his heartbeat. Through translucent walls, he watched the alien court going about their rituals, their movements synchronized with the planet's mysterious rhythms. Hours later, Alana visited his chambers. Without her guards, she seemed more relaxed, though no less regal. "You must have many questions," she said, sitting gracefully on what Kevin assumed was furniture. "Starting with why I'm not dead," Kevin replied. "Your atmosphere should have killed me instantly. That is what interests me most." Alana studied him intently. Our world's air becomes toxic to outsiders during mating season. Yet you thrive. What exactly does claiming me mean? It provides legal protection. Without it, you would have been taken for experimentation. She paused, noticing the mark appearing on his wrist. Ah, the bond mark manifests. Fascinating. Bond mark, the initial connection. To complete the claiming ritual properly requires more, but this prevents others from harming you for now. Before Kevin could respond, the door burst open. A tall warrior entered, his resemblance to Alana unmistakable. "Sister, you go too far," General Theron declared. "This outsider cannot be trusted. He bears the mark, brother. The ancient signs cannot be ignored. Signs can be manufactured. We know nothing of his true purpose here." Their argument revealed the political tensions Kevin had stumbled into. Xynthia faced a reproductive crisis, and this mating season might be their last chance to save their species. Some believed Kevin's arrival was destiny. Others saw it as invasion. Days passed as Kevin adjusted to palace life. He learned their customs, tasted luminescent foods, and witnessed ceremonies that defied explanation. Throughout it all, his connection to Alana deepened beyond mere political necessity. One evening, as 3 moons rose over the bioluminescent landscape, Alana found him on a balcony. "You're troubled," she observed. "I discovered something today," Kevin said quietly. "My mission files contained classified sections I couldn't access before. They mention unauthorized genetic modifications to my DNA." Alana touched his arm gently. "You were altered to survive our world. Apparently, I was an experiment, a test subject for first contact scenarios." The bitterness in his voice was evident. "I thought I was a scout. Turns out I was a laboratory rat. Does this change how you feel about being here?" Kevin met her gaze. "It changes how I feel about Earth, but not about you." Their moment was interrupted by alarms. The palace erupted in chaos as guards rushed to defensive positions. "Rebellion," Theron explained grimly. "The traditionalists reject Alana's claim." "And my people have arrived," Kevin added, pointing to lights appearing in the night sky. Earth Federation ships. The situation deteriorated rapidly. Xynthian rebels attacked the palace, demanding Kevin's surrender for scientific exploitation. Simultaneously, Earth forces transmitted ultimatums demanding his return. During the assault, rebels captured Alana. Kevin didn't hesitate. Using his military training enhanced by unexpected abilities emerging from his modified genetics, he infiltrated rebel positions. The rescue was intense. Kevin discovered he could interface with Xynthian technology, his altered DNA responding to their bioenergy fields. He fought through corridors of organic architecture, each wall pulsing with the planet's heartbeat. Finding Alana in a containment field, Kevin disabled her captors using techniques that blended human combat training with newfound alien capabilities. "You came for me," she whispered as he freed her. "Always," he replied, surprising himself with the conviction in his voice. They escaped just as Earth forces began landing. The situation reached critical mass. Kevin had to choose between returning to Earth or completing the bonding ritual that would forever tie him to Xynthia. In the sacred grove, surrounded by witnesses from both factions, Kevin and Alana began the final ritual. Energy flowed between them, a visible aurora of genetic exchange and spiritual connection. The process was more intense than either expected, their consciousnesses merging temporarily. Through their bond, Kevin shared Earth's struggles with resource depletion while Alana revealed Xynthia's reproductive crisis. Both species faced extinction without help. As the ritual concluded, something miraculous occurred. The combined genetic material created a solution to Xynthia's sterility. Simultaneously, Kevin's enhanced biology produced compounds that could restore Earth's damaged ecosystem. The transformation stunned everyone. Rebels laid down arms as they witnessed the first successful conception in decades. Earth forces hesitated, recognizing the unprecedented nature of what they observed. Commander Donovan, leading the Earth contingent, requested negotiation rather than confrontation. In marathon sessions mediated by Kevin and Alana, both sides reached agreements. Xynthia would share biotechnology to help Earth, while Earth would respect Xynthia's sovereignty. Kevin formally renounced his Earth military commission, choosing to remain as Alena's consort and ambassador between worlds. Their union became a symbol of cooperation rather than conquest. Months later, as Xynthia celebrated its first births in generations, Kevin and Alena stood together watching 3 moons rise. The crisis had passed, replaced by hope for both species. No regrets, Alena asked softly. Kevin pulled her close, only that it took crashing on a hostile planet during mating season to find where I truly belong. Their kiss sealed not just their personal bond, but a new era of interspecies cooperation. Above them, Earth ships departed peacefully, carrying the first gifts of Xynthian biotech. Below, the forest pulsed with renewed life, responding to the energy of their connection. The hostile planet had become home, and the alien princess who claimed him during mating season had become his destiny. Years would pass, and the story of the human who crashed on Xynthia would become legend on both worlds. But for Kevin and Alena, it was simply the beginning of their shared journey, bridging 2 species through love, understanding, and the strange circumstances that brought them together. The evening air carried new scents as young Xynthians played in the palace gardens, their hybrid genetics allowing them to thrive. Kevin watched them with pride, remembering his first terrifying moments on this world. Alena joined him, her hand finding his as naturally as breathing. "The Council wishes to discuss expanding our alliance," she said. "More Earth representatives are requesting permission to visit. Are we ready for that?" "We must be. Our children will inherit both worlds." Kevin nodded, understanding the weight of their responsibility. They had not just saved 2 species, but created a template for peaceful coexistence. The mating season that once threatened death now promised life, and the hostile planet had become a beacon of hope. As night fell, Kevin remembered his crashed ship, now a monument in the forest where it fell. Pilgrims from both worlds visited it, a reminder of how chance encounters could change the course of history. The future stretched before them, filled with challenges and possibilities. But together, the human scout and alien princess would face whatever came, their bond stronger than any force in the universe. Their love story had begun with danger and uncertainty, but it would continue with purpose and unity. The hostile planet was hostile no more, and the mating season that once spelled doom had become the season of miracles. Throughout the galaxy, other species watched and wondered. If humans and Xynthians could overcome their differences, perhaps there was hope for all. The crashed ship had not just brought Kevin to Alena. It had opened a door to a new era of interstellar relations. As Kevin and Alena retired to their chambers, the bioluminescent palace dimmed in response to their presence. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but tonight belonged to them. The human who crashed on a hostile planet during mating season had not just survived. He had found love, purpose, and a future beyond imagination. Their story would be told for generations, a testament to the power of connection across species and the unexpected paths that lead to destiny. In the end, it wasn't about survival or politics or even saving worlds. It was about 2 beings who recognized something in each other that transcended biology, culture, and the vast distances between stars. The hostile planet had tested them. Mating season had brought them together, and love had transformed everything. The transformation of Xynthia continued as Kevin and Alena worked together to integrate their species' knowledge. Earth scientists arrived to study the remarkable biological solutions emerging from their union, while Xynthian healers traveled to Earth to help restore damaged ecosystems. Their children grew strong, embodying the best traits of both species. The eldest, named after stars from both worlds, showed early signs of diplomatic talents that would one day unite even more civilizations. When a third species made contact, attracted by the harmony between Earth and Xynthia, it was Kevin and Alena who led the welcoming delegation. Their experience had taught them that apparent hostility often masked deeper needs, and that connection was possible even across the widest evolutionary gulfs. The mating season ritual evolved, becoming a celebration of unity rather than a time of danger for outsiders. Each year, during the time when Kevin first crashed, both species gathered to commemorate the accident that changed everything. As they aged, Kevin and Alana became revered figures, their love story studied by xenobiologists and poets alike. They had proven that compatibility transcended genetics, and that sometimes the greatest discoveries came from the most unlikely circumstances. Looking back, Kevin often marveled at the chain of events that led him here. A routine mission, a system failure, a desperate crash landing during the worst possible time. Yet each of these apparent disasters had been necessary steps towards something greater. Alana would smile when he shared these thoughts, her luminescent patterns still dancing across her skin after all these years. "The universe has its own wisdom," she would say. "It brought us together when both our peoples needed hope most." Their legacy lived on in the thriving hybrid generation, in the restored forests of both worlds, and in the growing alliance of species inspired by their example. The hostile planet that once promised death had become a symbol of life's resilience and love's power to overcome any obstacle. As Kevin stood on the palace balcony one final time, watching another generation of children play below, he knew that crashing on this world hadn't been an ending, but a beginning. The mating season that should have killed him had instead given him everything he never knew he wanted. The stars above held infinite possibilities, but his home was here, with Alana, on the planet that had claimed him in more ways than one. Together, they had written a new chapter in the story of two species, proving that sometimes the most beautiful connections come from the most dangerous circumstances. And somewhere out there, other scouts flew their missions, unaware that their own destiny might await on a hostile world during an alien mating season where love could bridge the gaps between stars. Decades passed, and the alliance between Earth and Xynthia flourished beyond anyone's expectations. Kevin and Alana's children had grown into remarkable leaders, each carrying the dual heritage that made them uniquely suited to navigate between worlds. Their eldest daughter, Lyra, became the first hybrid ambassador to the Galactic Council, while their son, Orion, revolutionized interspecies medicine with treatments derived from their combined genetic legacy. One morning, as Kevin and Alana walked through the palace gardens, now expanded to include Earth flora that thrived in Xynthia's enriched soil, they received an urgent message. A new crisis threatened the peace they had worked so hard to build. "The Krell Dominion has entered our sector," Theron reported, his face grave on the holographic display. "They claim our hybridization program violates cosmic law." Kevin exchanged a worried glance with Alana. The Krell were known for their rigid adherence to genetic purity, viewing any mixing of species as an abomination. "We knew this day might come," Alana said softly. "Our success challenges their fundamental beliefs." The Krell Armada positioned itself at the edge of Xynthian space, demanding the immediate cessation of all hybrid programs and the separation of humans from Xynthians. Their ultimatum sparked protests on both worlds, as a new generation that had never known life without the Alliance rose to defend their way of life. Lyra returned from her diplomatic post, bringing with her representatives from a dozen worlds that had benefited from the Earth-Xynthia cooperative model. "We're not alone in this," she assured her parents. "The galaxy has changed because of what you started." As tensions escalated, Kevin proposed a radical solution. "What if we invite the Krell to witness our mating season ceremony? Let them see for themselves what our union has created." The suggestion was met with skepticism, but Alana supported it. The ritual speaks to something deeper than politics or biology. Perhaps even the Krell can feel its truth. Preparations began for the most significant mating season celebration in Xynthian history. The Krell reluctantly agreed to send observers, their massive warships hovering ominously in orbit as their delegation descended to the surface. On the night of the ceremony, the sacred grove pulsed with unprecedented energy. Hundreds of couples, both pure and hybrid, gathered to participate in the ritual that had once been exclusive to Zenthians. Kevin and Alana stood at the center, their bond mark glowing brighter than ever. As the ceremony commenced, something extraordinary happened. The combined energy of so many compatible pairs created a resonance that affected even the stern Krell observers. Their rigid exoskeletons began to exhibit faint luminescence, responding to the biological harmonics in ways their science couldn't explain. The Krell commander, a being who had never shown emotion in decades of service, found tears forming in his compound eyes. "This is impossible," he whispered. "Our doctrines state that such mixing should cause only chaos and degradation." "Life finds a way," Kevin replied, remembering his own amazement at surviving that first breath of Zenthian air. Sometimes the most beautiful solutions come from embracing what we fear. The ceremony reached its climax as new life sparked into existence throughout the grove. Not just Zenthian or human life, but something entirely new, carrying the potential to heal wounds across the galaxy. In that moment, the Krell commander made a decision that would reshape galactic politics. "We withdraw our objection," he announced, "and request to learn more about this process." The crisis passed, transformed into an opportunity for greater understanding. The Krell, once the greatest threat to the hybrid program, became its most unlikely advocates. Their advanced technology, combined with the biological insights from Earth-Synthia cooperation, led to breakthroughs that benefited species across known space. Kevin often reflected on how a simple crash landing had set all of this in motion. What began as a disaster had evolved into the greatest diplomatic achievement in human history. Years later, as he and Alana watched their grandchildren play with young ones from a dozen different species, they knew their legacy was secure. The gardens now hosted regular gatherings of the Interspecies Harmony Council, which they had founded to promote peaceful coexistence throughout the galaxy. "Remember when I first claimed you?" Alana asked, her voice warm with memory. Kevin laughed. "How could I forget? I thought I was going to be dissected. Instead, you dissected our understanding of what's possible between species." Their quiet moment was interrupted by excited shouts from the children. A new ship had appeared in the sky, bearing the markings of an unknown civilization. "Another first contact," Kevin observed. "Shall we?" Alana took his hand, her skin still luminous after all these years. Together, as always, they walked toward the landing pad where their children and grandchildren were already gathering. This was their true legacy, not just the biological breakthroughs or political alliances, but the spirit of openness and curiosity they had instilled in future generations. As the alien vessel touched down, Kevin thought back to his own arrival on this world. He had been alone, afraid, and completely unprepared for what awaited him. Now, he stood ready to welcome others to the community he and Alana had built, a testament to the power of connection across all boundaries. The ship's doors opened, revealing beings unlike any they had encountered before. But Kevin felt no fear, only excitement at the possibilities ahead. Each new contact was a chance to expand the circle of understanding, to prove again that diversity was strength, not weakness. "Welcome to Zenthia," he called out, Alana's hand warm in his. "We've been waiting for you." The newcomers emerged cautiously, their sensory organs scanning the assembled crowd. In their body language, Kevin recognized the same uncertainty he had once felt, but he also saw curiosity, hope, and the potential for connection. His comm unit chirped with a message from Earth. Another Federation ship had gone missing near an uncharted world, its last transmission mentioning unusual atmospheric conditions. Kevin smiled, wondering if another scout was about to have their life changed forever by an unexpected crash landing. "Should we send a rescue mission?" asked Orion, who had taken over many of the diplomatic responsibilities. Kevin shook his head. "Give it time. Sometimes the best rescues are the ones that don't happen right away." Alana squeezed his hand, understanding perfectly. They had learned that the universe had its own way of bringing people together, often through circumstances that seemed disastrous at first. That evening, as the three moons rose over a celebration that included beings from across the galaxy. Kevin and Alana retired to their private quarters. The walls still pulsed with the rhythm of Kevin's heartbeat, a reminder of how deeply he had become part of this world. "Do you ever wonder what would have happened if your ship hadn't crashed here?" Alana asked as they prepared for sleep. "Every day," Kevin admitted. "And every day, I'm grateful it did." They lay together, watching the stars through the crystalline ceiling. Somewhere out there, other stories were beginning, other connections forming across the vast distances of space. The hostile planet that had once threatened death had become a beacon of life, and the mating season that should have been his doom had become his salvation. As sleep claimed them, Kevin's last thought was of the infinite possibilities that awaited when beings opened themselves to the unknown. He had crashed on a hostile planet during mating season, been claimed by an alien princess, and in doing so, had helped reshape the destiny of multiple species. It was, he reflected, a pretty good outcome for a mission gone wrong. The next morning brought news of more species requesting to join their alliance. The hybrid program had proven so successful that even the most conservative civilizations were reconsidering their positions on genetic isolation. Kevin and Alana hosted delegation after delegation, each bringing their own fears and hopes to the table. They shared their story countless times, never tiring of the message it carried about the power of acceptance and the beauty of diversity. As they celebrated another successful mating season, watching new life emerge from the union of previously incompatible species, Kevin realized that their greatest achievement wasn't the scientific breakthroughs or political alliances. It was the simple truth they had demonstrated that love could transcend any boundary, biological or otherwise. The hostile planet had tested them. Mating season had brought them together, and their willingness to embrace the unknown had changed the galaxy forever. As the festivities continued around them, Kevin and Alana shared a quiet moment, knowing that their story was far from over. New challenges would arise, new species would make contact, and new crises would threaten the peace they had built. But they faced the future without fear, secure in the knowledge that connection was always possible, even in the most unlikely circumstances. Their love had bridged worlds, and in doing so, had shown the entire galaxy a better way forward. The human who crashed during mating season and the alien princess who claimed him had become something greater than either could have imagined legends in their own time, architects of a new era of interstellar cooperation. And somewhere in the vast expanse of space, another scout ship was failing, another crisis was unfolding, another story was beginning. The cycle would continue, each new connection adding to the tapestry they had begun to weave on that fateful day when Kevin's ship fell from the sky. For in the end, it wasn't about the crash or the claiming or even the mating season itself. It was about the choice to see possibility where others saw only danger, to find love where others expected only conflict, and to build bridges where others would erect walls. The hostile planet was hostile no more, and the mating season that once spelled certain death had become a celebration of life in all its diverse and wonderful forms. Kevin and Alana's legacy would endure not in the treaties they signed or the technologies they developed, but in the simple, profound truth they had proven that love knows no boundaries, and that sometimes the greatest adventures begin with the most catastrophic failures. As they looked toward the future, hand in hand as they had been for decades, they knew that their story was just one chapter in the endless book of connections waiting to be written across the stars. The years continued to unfold like the petals of a cosmic flower, each season bringing new wonders and challenges. Kevin and Alana's influence spread far beyond their own system, their method of integration becoming known as the Xinthian model throughout the galactic community. Their youngest grandchild, Nova, showed an unprecedented ability to communicate with species previously thought incompatible with organic life. She could touch crystalline beings and understand their silicon-based thoughts, bridge the gap with energy entities that existed as pure consciousness. She gets that from both of us. Alana observed proudly as they watched Nova mediate a dispute between carbon-based and methane-breathing delegates. Your human adaptability combined with our biological resonance. Kevin nodded, marveling at how far they had come. When I crashed here, I never imagined we'd be creating universal translators of flesh and blood. The anniversary of Kevin's arrival became known as Unity Day, celebrated across dozens of worlds. Each year, the festivities grew more elaborate, incorporating traditions from every species in their expanding alliance. The original crash site had been preserved as a monument, the twisted remains of Kevin's scout ship, now surrounded by a garden where impossible hybrid plants bloomed. One day, while visiting the memorial, Kevin received an urgent transmission from Earth Command. After decades of peaceful cooperation, a new faction had seized power, demanding the return of all humans from alien worlds and the severance of hybrid connections. They call themselves the Purity Movement, Commander Rodriguez explained, her holographic image flickering with interference. They're threatening to use quantum weapons if their demands aren't met. Kevin felt a chill despite Xinthia's warm climate. He had always known that some on Earth resented their success, viewing the hybrid program as contamination rather than evolution. How much support do they have? He asked. Enough to be dangerous. They've seized control of several orbital platforms and are broadcasting propaganda about genetic corruption. Alana joined the conversation, her diplomatic training evident in her measured tone. We must respond with wisdom, not force. Violence will only validate their fears. Together, they crafted a response that would become a defining moment in galactic history. Instead of military action, they invited the Purity Movement's leaders to witness a special ceremony on Xinthia, one that would demonstrate the true nature of their hybrid society. The delegation arrived amid heavy security, their expressions ranging from disgust to curiosity. Kevin recognized their leader, Admiral Chun, from his early days in the Federation. Once a respected officer, Chun now embodied humanity's deepest xenophobic tendencies. You've betrayed your species, Markham, Chun spat as they met in the ceremonial chamber, diluting our genetic heritage with alien contamination. I've expanded it, Kevin countered calmly. Adaptation has always been humanity's greatest strength. The ceremony began at sunset, as the three moons aligned in a rare configuration that enhanced Xinthia's natural energy fields. Kevin and Alana led the ritual, joined by their children and grandchildren. As they formed the sacred circle, something unprecedented occurred. The hybrid participants began to manifest abilities that transcended anything previously documented. They projected their consciousness across space, connecting with every sentient being in the star system. For a brief, transcendent moment, everyone present experienced the universe through multiple perspectives simultaneously. Admiral Chun staggered, overwhelmed by the sensation of unity. Through the connection, he felt the fear that drove his movement, the pain of those who felt left behind by rapid change. But he also experienced the joy of discovery, the strength found in diversity, and the profound love that bound the hybrid community together. When the connection faded, Chun fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face. I didn't understand, he whispered. I couldn't see beyond my own limitations. The Purity Movement collapsed within days as its leaders, transformed by their experience, became advocates for integration. The crisis had revealed not just the power of the hybrid program, but the fundamental truth that fear could be overcome through direct experience of other perspectives. In the years that followed, Kevin and Alana watched their legacy grow beyond anything they could have imagined. Their descendants spread throughout the galaxy, each carrying the potential to bridge previously unbridgeable gaps. The original mating season that had threatened Kevin's life evolved into a celebration of universal connectivity. As they approached their centennial anniversary, Kevin and Alana decided to embark on one final journey. Using technology developed from their combined knowledge, they would visit every world in their alliance, sharing their story in person one last time. Their farewell tour became a pilgrimage for millions. On each planet, they were greeted as living legends, the couple whose love had rewritten the rules of biology and diplomacy. Young beings of all species sought their blessing, hoping to find their own cross-species connections. On a small moon orbiting a gas giant, they encountered a group of refugee children from a war-torn system. The youngsters, representing 5 different species, had formed their own hybrid family unit. "We want to be like you," a young Threlin told them, her chitinous shell reflecting Xinthia's bioluminescent patterns. To show everyone that family isn't about genetics, Kevin knelt beside her, his aging joints protesting slightly. "You already are," he assured her. "Every time you choose connection over isolation, you honor what we started." Their journey culminated in a return to Earth, where they were received with honors that would have been unthinkable when Kevin first departed. The planet had transformed, its damaged ecosystems restored through Xinthian biotechnology, its society enriched by integration with the galactic community. Standing before the global assembly, Kevin delivered what would become known as the Unity Address. "I left Earth as a scout, searching for new worlds. I returned as a bridge, connecting all worlds. Our greatest discovery was not new planets or resources, but the infinite potential that exists when we embrace rather than fear our differences." Alana added her own wisdom, speaking in the musical tones of her native language that everyone now understood. "The hostile planet that became our home taught us that perceived threats often hide the greatest opportunities. Our mating season, once a time of danger for outsiders, became a season of miracles for all species." As they concluded their address, a new alert sounded. Another ship had crashed on a distant world during that planet's equivalent of mating season. The cycle was beginning again. Kevin and Alana exchanged knowing smiles. "Should we intervene?" an aide asked. "No," Kevin replied. "Let destiny unfold. Sometimes the universe knows exactly what it's doing." They retired to a peaceful estate on the border between Earth's restored wilderness and a Xinthian colony. Their home became a sanctuary for those seeking to understand interspecies connection, a living museum of the love that changed the galaxy. On quiet evenings, they would sit on their balcony, watching the stars and sharing memories of their extraordinary journey. The marks on their wrists still glowed, testament to a bond that had transcended biology, culture, and time itself. "Do you ever regret it?" Alana asked one night, as a meteor shower painted the sky with streaks of light. "Leaving your old life behind?" Kevin pulled her close, feeling the familiar pulse of her bioluminescent patterns. "My old life ended the moment I crashed on your world. Everything since then has been the life I was meant to live." As they sat together, a message arrived from their great-granddaughter, stationed at the edge of known space. She had made contact with beings of pure energy, entities that existed outside conventional understanding of life. "They want to join our alliance," she reported excitedly. "They say they've been watching us, waiting for the right moment." Kevin and Alana shared a look of wonder. Even after all these years, the universe still held surprises. "Tell them we welcome them," Alana responded, "and remind them that our doors are always open to those who seek connection." The night deepened around them, filled with the songs of hybrid creatures that couldn't have existed without their union. Somewhere in the galaxy, new stories were beginning, new connections forming, new impossibilities becoming reality. Kevin thought back to that fateful day when his ship had fallen from the sky, when a hostile planet's atmosphere should have killed him, when an alien princess had claimed him during the most dangerous season of her world cycle. Every step of that journey had seemed like disaster at the time, yet each had been necessary to create the miracle of their shared life. As sleep finally claimed them, Kevin's last conscious thought was of gratitude for the crash that brought him to Alana, for the mating season that forged their bond, for the hostile planet that became their home. Their love had not just bridged worlds, it had shown the entire universe a new way of being. The story of the human who crashed on a hostile planet during mating season would be told for generations to come, inspiring countless others to look beyond their fears and embrace the unknown. For in the end, it was not about survival or politics, or even love itself, but about the courage to see possibility where others saw only danger, to find connection where others expected only conflict. And as the 3 moons of Xynthia cast their gentle light over the sleeping couple, the universe continued its endless dance of separation and unity, knowing that somewhere, somehow, love would always find a way to bridge the gaps between stars. Months turned to years, and Kevin and Alana entered what many considered their twilight years, though their spirits remained as vibrant as ever. Their estate became a nexus of wisdom, where beings from across the galaxy came to seek counsel on matters of diplomacy, biology, and the mysteries of interspecies connection. One morning, as they tended to their hybrid garden, a delegation arrived with news that would set in motion their final great adventure. A temporal anomaly had been detected near the original crash site, one that seemed to be reaching backward through time. "The readings are unprecedented," explained Dr. Sarin, their chief quantum physicist. "It's as if the universe is trying to communicate with its own past." Kevin studied the holographic data, his enhanced senses detecting patterns that others might miss. "It's centered on the exact coordinates where my ship went down." "Not just that," Alana added, her eyes widening with realization. "The temporal signature matches the moment we completed our first bonding ritual." The implications were staggering. Their union had created ripples not just through space, but through time itself. The quantum entanglement of their bonded genetics had somehow influenced the very events that brought them together. As they investigated further, they discovered that the anomaly was creating windows into alternate timelines, showing what might have been if different choices had been made. In one reality, Kevin's ship never crashed, and both Earth and Xynthia faced extinction separately. In another, he died in the crash, and Xynthia fell to the traditionalist faction, leading to galactic war. "Our love didn't just change the future," Kevin marveled. "It ensured its own beginning." The discovery prompted a galaxy-wide symposium on the nature of destiny and free will. Scientists, philosophers, and mystics gathered to debate whether their story had been inevitable or if their choices had shaped reality itself. During the conference, their great-great-granddaughter, Arya, made a breakthrough. She had inherited the strongest combination of human adaptability and Xynthian resonance, allowing her to perceive dimensions others couldn't access. "I can see the threads," she announced to the assembled delegates. "Every choice creates new possibilities, but some connections are so strong they transcend individual timelines. Your bond," she said to Kevin and Alana, "exists in every reality where love is possible." The revelation transformed their understanding of the universe. They weren't just lucky accidents of fate. They were fundamental proof that consciousness could shape reality through the power of connection. As news of the discovery spread, a new movement emerged. Species across the galaxy began actively seeking their own transcendent connections, understanding that such bonds could literally reshape the fabric of space-time. Kevin and Alana decided to take one final journey through the temporal anomaly, to witness firsthand the moment their paths first crossed. Using carefully calibrated quantum shielding, they stepped into the swirling vortex of possibility. They found themselves observing Kevin's younger self, struggling with the controls of his doomed scout ship. They watched as fate, destiny, or perhaps their own future influence guided the vessel towards Xynthia. "We could change it," Alana whispered, her hand tight in Kevin's. "Prevent the crash, spare you the pain and fear." Kevin shook his head, smiling. "Every moment of pain led to a lifetime of joy. I wouldn't change a single second." As they watched, they saw something they hadn't noticed before. At the moment of impact, a pulse of energy emanated from their future selves, cushioning the crash just enough to ensure Kevin's survival. They had always been part of their own story, their love reaching back through time to secure its own existence. Returning to their present, they shared their experience with the scientific community. The knowledge that certain connections could influence their own origins revolutionized the understanding of causality and free will. In their final years, Kevin and Alana established the Institute of Transcendent Connections, dedicated to studying and fostering bonds that could reshape reality. Their methodology combined rigorous science with the ineffable mystery of love, creating a new paradigm for understanding the universe. As they approached the end of their physical journey, they made one last discovery. The bioluminescent patterns that had marked their bond were evolving, transforming into pure energy that seemed to exist partially outside normal space-time. "We're becoming something new," Alana observed with wonder rather than fear. "Together, as always," Kevin replied, his essence already beginning to merge with hers. Their transformation didn't come as death, but as ascension. Their physical forms dissolved into pure consciousness, their love becoming a fundamental force woven into the fabric of reality itself. They became guardians of connection, their influence felt whenever beings chose love over fear, unity over division. The site of their ascension became a pilgrimage destination for couples across the galaxy. Many reported sensing their presence, feeling encouraged to pursue impossible loves and bridge unbridgeable gaps. Centuries later, a young historian named Elena stood at the memorial commemorating Kevin and Alana's first meeting. As she studied the archived accounts of their incredible journey, she felt a warm presence surround her. In that moment, she understood that their story wasn't really about a human crashing on a hostile planet during mating season, or about an alien princess claiming him as her own. It was about the power of choice, the courage to embrace the unknown, and the transformative potential of love. As Elena left the memorial, she noticed a shooting star streak across the sky. Somewhere in the vast expanse of space, another unlikely journey was beginning, another impossible love story waiting to unfold. For Kevin and Alana had proven that the universe itself conspires to bring hearts together, that what seems like disaster might be destiny in disguise, and that love, in its purest form, could transcend every boundary imaginable. Their legacy lived on not just in the countless hybrids who carried their genetic heritage, or in the peaceful alliance of species they had fostered, but in the fundamental truth they had revealed about the nature of existence itself. Love, they had shown, was not just an emotion or a biological imperative. It was a force as real and powerful as gravity or electromagnetism, capable of bending space, time, and probability to ensure that connections meant to be would always find a way. And so, across the infinite expanse of the cosmos, their story continued to inspire new generations of boundary crossers and bridge builders. Every time someone looked at a stranger and saw not a threat, but a potential friend, every time differences became cause for curiosity rather than fear, Kevin and Alana's influence rippled through reality. The hostile planet had tested them, mating season had brought them together, and their love had rewritten the rules of the universe itself. In the end, they hadn't just survived or adapted or even thrived. They had transcended, becoming eternal proof that the greatest adventures often begin with the most catastrophic seeming disasters. As the three moons continued their eternal dance over Zenthia, and countless stars told countless stories across the galaxy, one truth remained constant. Sometimes, the most profound connections are forged in the crucible of the impossible, and true love can indeed bridge any gap, no matter how vast the distance between stars.